Hello everyone, MP Hater here, and welcome back to my Newcomer's Guide for Elden Ring. This is part 12. So, in the last episode, we ended up tackling a number of different bosses. We ended up going over to the Demi-Human Forest Ruins, where we fought the Demi-Human Queen. We beat her. We went over to the Earthward Cave, where we beat the Rune Bear. We ended up going over to the lake where we fought the Flying Dragon Nagil, and then we ended up beating both of the Death Birds. One right here in Limgrave, and the other one down here in the Weeping Peninsula. And in this episode, we're going to be tackling some of the final bosses in both of these areas before we head off to Stormvale. Now, I do want to point out, I said before that your goal to get into Stormvale and not have too many troubles is to be between level 30 and 40. Remember, I'm a wretch, so I started off levels at level 1, where most of the other characters started between level 7 and 9. So you should be in a much higher level than I am at this point, and should be having a much easier time of this game, I hope, than where I technically am. So I'll say, if you are struggling with these bosses, go ahead and head to Stormvale Castle. You'll probably find stuff easier there than you will these final bosses, because these final bosses are pretty hard, and I'll say I struggled against some of these bosses many times before beating them, because for the most part, these bosses represent kind of the upper echelon of these areas. They require you to get good at dodging. You're going to have to dodge their attacks, so definitely pay attention to the way that I'm doing things, especially when I dodge successfully. But kind of the idea is we're going to head over first to... actually, I take that back. We're going to head over first to the Impaler's Catacombs. So this has an Erdtree Burial Watchdog in it, who is pretty hard in my opinion, mostly because it's surrounded by a bunch of imps. So we're going to head there first. Then we're going to tackle the Ancient Hero of Zamor. Then we're going to tackle the Tree Sentinel. Then we're going to head to the Stormvale Everjail, where we're going to fight the Crucible Knight. And then we're going to wrap by heading over to the War Master's Shack. And when we get there, we're going to fight the Bell-Bearing Hunter. So let's go ahead and head first over to the Impaler's Catacombs and knock that place out. So the actual dungeon for this place is pretty easy. It's just that the boss itself is very unusual for a boss like this, at least in my opinion anyway. Hi. And we'll talk about the boss as we get closer, but as you can see, there's some enemies on the walls. We're going to get these guys to come to us a couple at a time. Oh, we got the attention of the other one already. Shoot. At least this one's coming to us first. I'm going to be so happy when we start doing more damage with this weapon. Focusing on Vigor all this time. Anyway, at this split, we're going to make the left. How dare you! Anyway, I grabbed some some Grave Glovewort. Then we're going to head back the way we came. This floor, by the way, is going to raise you to the ceiling, where you can see that there are quite a few spikes. It's not instant death, but we'll do a lot of damage, so we're going to want to make a run for it over here. We're going to grab this item. And then we're going to want to get into here again, and then drop off. So a couple of plants here to get. We'll go ahead and get these. Now the enemies that are in here more or less just keep respawning. Don't waste your time with them. They're not worth the souls to keep fighting. Runes. Runes. Man, I'm so invested in Dark Souls at this point. Alright, so when you get up here, we've got our gate lever. That'll get us into the boss battle. Ah, I couldn't attack because of the message on the wall. That's one thing that I wish they would fix. Whenever the messages pop up on screen, you can't attack. I often will just not pay attention to them and forget to clear them. Then I can't attack. Alright, so, in this boss battle, we basically have one of the Erdtree Burial Watchdogs. The thing that's most irritating about this fight, though, is that we are against a bunch of imps in here, too. We're going to summon. Highly recommend that you summon. And then we're going to want to kill the imps as quickly as possible. Hopefully the summon won't die too super quickly, because we definitely need to get the imps dead before we focus on the Erdtree Burial Watchdog. I will say, if you have a lot of trouble with this particular fight, something to keep in mind is that later we're going to get our hands on some throwing daggers. And those throwing daggers, whenever we hit golem-type enemies with them, they will start attacking anything indiscriminately. So you can actually use that in this fight. It takes 2 or 3, basically, to do it, but you could hit, for example, the main boss, and it'll start killing the other enemies around it. So, and you can attack the other things and make them kill each other too. So, very, very useful in this particular fight. But we're going to try to complete this fight. I'm going to summon immediately, then we're going to go after... Oh, shoot. I forgot the Cerulean Tears. Oh, that might cost me the fight. We'll see. Okay. Oh, I'm out. Okay. Made some mistakes in that fight, but we still won. Alright, so that's going to knock out the Erdtree Burial Watchdog. Next, we're going to head to the ancient hero of Zamor. Actually, let me spend some and then customize as well. Let's see, charge attack power and half of total HP. I think we have enough of that. Let's do a boost of stamina. I think we'll go with the charged attack power. Okay. So, this fight is against a warrior who has a curved sword. He will breathe ice at you. He also tends to be pretty docile. He will occasionally swing at you whenever you are in stage 1. So you can kind of get used to his attacks in stage 1 without too much trouble. However, once you get him down to around half of his health, he's going to transition to stage 2. And you'll know he's transitioning to stage 2 because he's going to basically kind of fall on his knees, and then he's going to imbue his sword with ice. At which point, all of his physical attacks with his sword, which he becomes a lot more aggressive with, are going to end up doing ice damage to you. And the ice damage will build up a bar very similar to bleed called frostbite. And once that gets full, you're going to lose a whole mess of your health as well. So we want to try to avoid frostbite. We haven't really visited any areas that allow us to get anti-frostbite gear or anti-frostbite anything, really. But it's easy enough, in my opinion, to avoid taking too much damage from it. So, again, you should be able to beat this boss, in my opinion. I am going to go ahead and use my daggers for this boss. The biggest problem is if you try to do this kind of attack, even just those 4 attacks, it's too much time. You're locked into that animation. So for this fight, I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to do kind of a one-handed configuration. And I'm also going to end up making heavy use of my left trigger option. So, but for now, let's go ahead and head towards him. Fire damage, by the way, will do a lot more to this boss. You can roll through that, by the way. And there he goes. The dodging back is not a bad idea. That's an excellent time, by the way, to hit him with attacks like this. Otherwise, that's going to do it. We still have 7 flasks left, so we didn't do too bad. We're going to get Radigan's Scar Seal from that. That's going to increase several of our stats by +3. And go take a look at your talismans. Going to increase your stuff by +3. The caveat, though, is it increases the damage that you take. There's also a better version of this that increases everything by 5. There's also kind of a reverse version of this that increases your mind, your intelligence, your faith, and or your arcane as well. So there are different versions of these seals that you can get in the game. But this is our first of this particular version. So the next thing that we're going to tackle, now that we've done that, is going to be the Tree Sentinel. So let's head back to the first step. Now in this fight we can summon, so that's going to make this fight a good bit easier in my opinion. This enemy has pretty wide swings, but he's also really easy to dodge most of his attacks. They all have very long tells. Whenever he goes into stage 2, however, he can use his shield to catch attacks that are shot at him, so be aware of that. He'll also start jumping into the air and doing ground pounds. He'll also start doing kind of this shove with his shield, which does a whole mess of damage, in my opinion. So I'm going to let them kind of deal with him. So there's the catch. So try to learn the timings of his attacks and when you can dodge into them. Remember, you don't have to necessarily dodge away from them. You can dodge directly into them. Otherwise, that's going to do it for this fight. Next, we're going to head to the Stormhill Everjail, and we're going to fight the Crucible Knight. Actually, let's grab a level real quick. Might as well. So this fight is another fight where he's pretty easy as long as you learn his dodge timing. It's just learning that dodge timing can be pretty time-consuming. Kind of the way that I would recommend doing things if you're trying to learn an enemy like this is basically wait for him to do specific attacks, back off, let him come to you. Wait for him to do specific attacks, and keep allowing him to do those same specific attacks. That way you can see it many times and then try to dodge it multiple times. So, if you swing your weapon at this guy and he's blocking, he will generally respond by doing a shield butt. So, you'll want to roll kind of away from him, but you want to do it at the last possible second, because he will catch you on his shield if you're not careful. So, there's a timing to dodging his shield butt. He'll also do a thrusting attack, roll directly into his thrust, is what I would recommend you do, and then swing at him only once. And then he's got a 3-hit combo. Sometimes he'll do all 3 hits with it. Sometimes he'll only do the first 2 hits. And the 3-hit combo, you can time your dodges and go around him. And you'll see that in this fight as well. When you get him to about half of his health, he's going to end up gaining wings. And he'll start doing a flying attack against you as well periodically. He also will gain a tail attack, and he has 2 different versions of the tail attack. There's one that basically has maybe a third of the range of this ring, and then the other one can basically reach all the way across this ring from the other side of this ring. And that one can kill you in just a couple of hits, though he only uses it once. So if you get hit by both tails back to back, you'll probably die. So you want to dodge both of them if you can, but especially the second one. Otherwise, he'll again fly up into the air and then do kind of a plunging attack through you. and then he'll land somewhere behind you, dodge directly into that attack. Otherwise, this is going to be mostly taking chip damage on this boss. So again, try to learn his attack patterns is the best thing I can say. So that's his shield butt. And there's how to dodge it. So that attack, when you see the sparks, dodge to the right. There's his first swing of that combo. Dodge that. So this is his 2 attack. Oh, got him. Right as he was about to do his transformation. So back off. There's his first hail attack. Dodge again, and then dodge again. Dodge through that. There's the second tail. Dodge that. Oh. The timing on that was not great. Dodge again. There's a second tail. Again, super dangerous, that attack. So his attacks are fairly predictable, though his second phase, I'm not good at timing my dodges through his single tail attacks. The double attacks I can get pretty well though. That's going to be that boss. Other than just simply learning his attacks, that's going to be the main thing. I will say that you can parry most of his attacks as well, so take advantage of that. I'm not great at parrying in this game for whatever reason. I was pretty good at it in Dark Souls 1, but the timing is just a little bit different. So if you're like me, I wouldn't bother trying to parry, but that is another thing that can make this fight super easy. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and remove these symbols, because we got one more fight ahead of us, and this is the one that I have the most trouble with among all of these fights. And that's going to be the ball-bearing knight. So this is going to be another dodge-heavy fight. I'm going to recommend that you stay on this enemy up close as much as you can if you're a melee fighter. And hell, even if you're a magic fighter, most of his really devastating attacks are his long-distance attacks. So you might consider trying to go kind of short range with this boss if you can, because I think most of his short-range attacks are a lot more manageable. Otherwise, though, we're over 1,000 off. I'm not going to bother getting a level at this point. I'm going to be basically utilizing my single-handed version of this, mainly because I need to be able to very quickly stop attacking and dodge out of the way. That's not really conducive to this kind of attack stuff. So kind of up to you how you want to handle this again, or if you want to deal with this boss. Otherwise, you need to come here at night. So we're going to pass the time until nightfall. So the War Master is still here. We're going to sit at the grace again. And you may have to progress this dialogue.
There's a memento to find that cellar. It grants me not floating well.
Okay, he's disappeared. Alright, so this guy has multiple really devastating attacks. He'll shoulder butt you from really far away. He will do this kind of spinning drill attack that has a lot more range than it seems it should. So we want to roll to the right of that. He can make his sword kind of disconnect from itself and have a lot longer range. It'll turn red whenever it does that, and it'll do multiple swipes that are a lot farther away than they should be. In addition, if you dodge all of those swipes and the sword ends up behind you, he can suck the sword back to him and basically hit you on the way back. So avoid that. Otherwise, his close-up attacks are mostly going to be normal attacks. He won't use the red sword version of this, which means that you want to get him to do those attacks. In fact, most of them you can dodge into or roll to the side of, and you'll be fine. Otherwise, just immediately start swinging at him. See what I mean by that shoulder butt? That's probably his most devastating attack. I always forget about that. And again, that has so much more range than it deserves to have. Ah. So close. All right, there we go. And that, my friends, is going to do it. We got the Bone Peddler's ball bearing. So these ball bearings, the way that they work is we need to take them to the round table hold. If you kill any of the NPCs that are vendors in this game, they will drop a ball bearing. And we can head over to the round table hold. And we can give that ball bearing over to the Twin Husks Maiden. So now that we're in here, we're going to head left. And that will expand their repertoire of what they sell. So if you kill a NPC in the game who sells stuff, then their stuff will be available from purchasing here. That basically incentivizes you to consider killing them. In fact, at the very end of the game, I am going to recommend that we kill all the NPCs just to get all the options that are available to us for purchases. But again, you might consider buying a memory stone. This is a more expensive place to buy the stone sword keys at this point, so I would buy them up from the NPCs first. That's another thing, is prices may change, but the items will stay the same for what's being sold here versus what's being sold by the NPCs. So buy out the NPCs first is what I generally recommend. Otherwise, that is going to do it for this episode. In the next episode, we're finally going to head towards the Stormvale Castle area. There is one final boss that you could potentially go after if you wanted to. They are in the Stranded Graveyard. You might remember the double Stone Sword Key that was there, or Stone Sword Key imp that was there. In my opinion, that's more of a level 50, 60 boss, so I would probably hold off. The area itself has enemies that, while they don't do a lot of damage, it takes many, many hits to kill them. And the Grafted Scion that we dealt with at the very beginning of the game, the first thing that we fought, that we actually got 2 of those to deal with, three technically, I think, in that one area. So pretty high level stuff to deal with there. Otherwise, though, I think that's going to do it, everybody. Thank you everybody for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Later.